Hey, I'm Eric, I'm the explorer.
I'm Phil, I'm the folklorist.
And together we are setting out across the Empire State to explore the haunts and legends of New York.
Called Overlook, the historic Burrell family mansion is set high atop Little Falls, looking out over the city and the Mohawk River Valley. Built in the late 1800s for the industrialist and inventor David Burrell, the home boasts unique features that Burrell invented. Join us for a first-ever tour of Overlook as we learn the legends of this castle-like mansion.
Welcome to another episode of the Haunts and Legends of New York. I'm Eric Meyer, and Phil, we have ventured to Little Falls in Herkimer County for this gorgeous building.
The Overlook Mansion is a pivotal location for Little Falls, actually, and it was closed down for a number of years. It went through a very dark period, and now it's reopened, it's restored, and some of the legends are coming out.
Let's go meet the owners and the caretaker and see what we can find. And here we are inside the Overlook Mansion.
So what can you tell us about the sort of history of how Burrell built this? Who is Burrell, and just what is this impact you're talking about?
So David Hamlin Burrell was an inventor, industrialist, big in the dairy industry. Did a lot of inventions with the cheese making, cheese processing, and had some other interesting inventions that are actually showcased here in the house as he had this house built. Now, my understanding was that he knew from a rather young age that he wanted to build a house here, and there's the story of him as a younger man, sort of staking out where the layout would be up on the hill up here, and then eventually building the house out of the stone cut right from the hillside.
So the house dates from when?
This house was constructed in the late 1880s. So the design was done by Archimedes Russell out of Syracuse, and David Burrell was big in the design, in the design and the layout of the house.
So as this was used then as the family's home.
This was a private residence. It was built as his private residence, as the main family residence. My understanding is that originally it was like a 2,000-acre dairy farm. And he had the dairy herds for then the cheese making and the cheese processing that was done primarily in Little Falls. Was famous for its cheese production. So that was the origins of the house here. It was a private family residence. Now, since that time, it was in the family up until the 70s, early 80s.
It was early 70s where the Burrell family still had it, and then it was sold to the Billings mid 1970s, and then they had it until 1980, or the late 1980s, and then it was purchased by a couple from New York City that converted it into an inn and a restaurant. And then it went kind of dormant. It switched hands a couple times during that time frame when it was vacant, to where the owner, she still held the mortgage, but she like leased it out, if you will. And then nothing ever became of it from that point until the previous owner before Mick and Maggie, and he bought it, I believe, late 2007, 2008, and then he started restoring it from at that point, to where he fixed the carriage house first, and then he moved into the carriage house, and then started on the 3rd floor and worked his way down.
Now, it's a pretty dramatic restoration with this, because for the period of time that it was vacant, it had been stripped of all features, all things.
Yeah, by the early 2000s, I guess there was really no more operations that were going on, and it sat vacant for a number of years. I know the previous owner, Jamie, had bought it in 2009, I think. Yeah. Is when he bought it. He bought this place, and there's an associated carriage house with it out in back. And the carriage house was his original residence. He had started renovating that place over there, and then subsequently, when he moved his renovation activities to this house, took up residence in the 3rd floor upstairs of this place. 2nd floor has been renovated now to guest rooms for a bed and breakfast, and the 1st floor has been renovated for use as a vent space, the 1st floor in the basement. So we have a floor plan that lays out in the south side of the house essentially 3 adjoining rooms on the 1st floor, on the 2nd floor, and that continues up to the attic, to the 3rd floor, to the former private residence. And then an open space in the basement that can be utilized also for event functions.
What does this mansion, do you think, mean to the Little Falls community?
A lot of the younger people just think it's like this cool big house up on the hill, but a lot of the older people, I don't think I've not mentioned or not met anybody over the age of 50 that hasn't had some kind of affiliation or friend or relative that was some kind of, worker or something, did something to the house, whether they were an electrician, flooring guy, they helped with the roof or, anything. So I think that is the big tie, and there's not much in the area anymore. So to have something that's survived 126 years, I think that in itself is what really draws people to it.
Well, that is something that originally was very attractive to us when we first looked at this place, was when we first started talking to people about it and looked at some of the history, was the involvement in the community from the original owner, from David Burrell, but also throughout that time. So many people that we've talked to in town have said stories of, when I was a kid, we used to go up and go bowling in the bowling alley, or we'd come up and play in the yard and do things up at the house. And that was what impressed us, was that it wasn't just that mansion on the hill that had the gate that nobody ever went in to see the the guy up on the hill, but that it was involved. There was a lot of involvement in the community and a lot of support for the community, for the facility up here, and that's something that we're looking to continue and to develop into the future. So this was one of D.H. Burrell's daughters that had tuberculosis and couldn't get out very readily, so they put this balcony on the room so that she could at least get out and get some fresh air every once in a while. So we have that, and it's actually a very nice space, particularly when the sun is shining right now.
And we think about places like Saranac Lake that had large tuberculosis sanitariums, but here Burrell had the wherewithal to actually build one into his house when the need arose.
Yeah, so that's a neat little feature in the balcony room there.
Wow. And you are right, that is gorgeous with the sunshine and what a view.
Remained when Jamie was here. I know that most everything was gone.
Yeah.
I would imagine that that's a replacement. Period. Again.
Sure.
Period.
But original tile.
Yes.
Yep.
In this one and the other bathroom. This is the overlook room, which does have the big picture window that gives you a good view over the city.
I don't think there's a window here that can't be.
So if that was one of the daughter's rooms, were these more children's rooms, or we'll maybe come to it where his master was, or
chambers? This would have been where the bedrooms were.
Yep. So we're saying that this was likely the master suite, and Burrell, we think, passed away in the house and probably took his last breaths probably right here in this room.
Absolutely. And if you read the article with his obituary in it, it actually says he was taken from the house. So I'm assuming that he did die.
Would have been in his bed when he
Yes.
died.
Yes.
So, that was the interesting thing.
light and bright space. That's one of the nice things about the Victorian mansions is a lot of window space.
Yes.
And I think this is the prime room of the house.
Yeah.
This is my favorite room in the house.
So this in the house, or this was found somewhere in
This
a?
was actually, I believe, purchased by the previous owner at an auction.
Wow.
Because there's one of his great-great-grandsons still lives in Little Falls.
Okay.
Topics and all that, those chat rooms they
Right.
were talking about, they're going to tear down the Burrell Mansion, what they're going to do with all the stuff in there. So someone from Western Massachusetts came up and took this insert,
Okay.
and because it was vacant for like 6-7 years prior to them doing it, and then when the current owner started restoring it, stuff started going online. Hey, they're restoring the Burrell Mansion, you know, all that other kind of stuff. They brought it back.
They brought it back. Oh, nice.
So we'll take a walk up to the third floor.
Let's
here.
do that.
Now this was
So more of those stained glass we're talking
former
about.
owner's residence was here. And these are the. Not at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, this is relatively unfinished.
Still in progress.
This is now be careful. There's a little soft spot on the floor.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, I see it.
However, again, we have, you know, just like below, 3 rooms connected. Watch out, there's a-
Pardon me.
Wow. More space.
Yeah,
Just keeps going.
This was gorgeous.
it really
You know,
is.
an ideal to take the whole floor and to use for a bridal suite. Something along those lines.
Yep.
Again, great space, great light.
So in the original plans, just more bedroom spaces, or?
I have not seen on the floor plan of this third.
Okay.
Now, when we look at some of the drawings downstairs, you'll notice that the roof line had actually changed from the original drawing. They kind of changed stuff as they, you know, it was a span of several years
Sure.
it took to build this thing. And I think from its original concept to the time it was actually built, it underwent a couple of changes.
Sure.
Well, this is the owner. The owner used to have those dogs.
Well, the owner used to have his space, you know, this was his living space, but when they went out of town, I'd come up here because I got a horrible shower in my bathroom. So I'd come up to shower. The first couple times I did it, I really got freaked out because I always thought somebody was watching me. So I'd get the dogs, he used to have 2 dogs, and I'd bring them in the bathroom and shut the door. And they'd be like, you know, why am I in the bathroom? But, you know, they made me feel comfortable because if someone came in, you know, I'd hear them like scurry. But yeah, it's really, really creepy to shower up here because you always feel like there's someone watching.
And what do you think gives you, because of the windows here,
Yeah,
or?
you know, I think maybe because that goes right into the attic.
Oh,
Because it doesn't close completely.
Uh-huh.
It's always people that stay down on the second floor in the rooms, the southwest turret and the southwest turret and the sapphire room. I have a lot of people that say that in that room in that bathroom at the end of the hall.
They
as
feel
well,
like-
that they feel like someone's watching them.
No worries.
Oh, all right. See, already.
See, that's Eric. He's not been in the dark though.
Well, and it's tough, especially when you come in on a sunny day, because you're going to come in and you're going to walk in here and say, oh, wait a minute, I can't see anything now.
Uh-huh.
Now, this gives you the overlook.
Oh, wow. Wow, indeed. It is. I don't know if you got it, Phil, but from the front of the house on the portico, the big B. Well, we've heard some interesting stories about this mansion. What kind of experiences have you had, or you say, oh, there's nothing to that?
Well, there's if you look online, a lot of the stuff that's online is old man Burrell. He walks up and down the hallways, or he's been seen on the porch or stuff like that. I've lived here 3 years and haven't experienced any of that kind of stuff. We have had people that have stayed that have heard footsteps. It's an old house, that have heard footsteps. They say they hear the little girl running up and down the hallway. We had a couple from England that at one time stayed in the Sapphire Room that supposedly saw, the premonition of a little girl in the mirror. Just things like that. Nothing scary, nothing. Sure. We have a medium that has stayed, several times, that has stayed in the Overlook room, that states that she's seen, a couple old ladies up there, and we used to face the chairs north, facing in towards the hallway, and she goes, you really should face them out towards the window because they like to sit in the window. There's times that the lights will flicker, pretty to where you go, holy smokes, and then there's times that it doesn't, and I think that if they are here, they totally feed off guests.
They like the attention.
Yeah, they like the older guys. That I've been told by several people that there's 2 older men, there's 2 older women, and a little girl. Well, about a year ago, I had someone come and they actually told me that there's not 1 little girl, there's 2 little girls, and they're twins. I've talked with people, and it's so hard to find data to support it. But they're friendly. I mean, I'll walk up and down the hallway and get the EBGBs at 10 o'clock at night when no one's in the house. But it's nothing to the point that, and again, the stuff that's online is, I don't think that it's very accurate because I haven't experienced anything along those lines.
You're the one who's in here every
day.
day.
Yeah, I'm here every day. And we have guests that'll come down. Had another couple from Arizona that came, and they told me that they heard 2 people talking in the hallway, and I was like, you guys are the only people here. and it was a woman, an older woman talking to a little girl, and she was addressing the little girl as Elizabeth. The most recent was about 3 weeks ago. We had a couple from Westchester County that came up. We were chatting it up. There were 2 couples that stayed that particular night, and the other couple was already down having breakfast, and here comes this guest, and she goes, hey, hold on, I thought you told me you didn't have any kids in here. And I said, well, what do you mean? Because some people, it's a B&B, with children, they come here and relax or whatever. I go, well, there's no kids here. And the only other guests are the 2 that are sitting right here. And she goes, I heard a little girl crying this morning. And when I come down for breakfast, I come down and I just make breakfast. So she goes, she was crying, for a while too. So, so you get things like that.
So quit yelling at the kids. Like, there weren't any kids here. It wasn't us.
Yeah, I know in the short time that we've been here, I mean, we've certainly seen things, in both in the carriage house where we're staying and over here. I came over one morning to do some maintenance upstairs, and there were 2 rooms that there were no guests in the night before. And I walk in, and there's the TV on in this room, and I go into the next room, and the TV's on in this room, and I come down and I said, Jim, why are you watching TV in 2 different rooms? What do you mean? I didn't turn any TV on. So things like that.
Right.
Tend to happen.
That was the same morning. We came downstairs at 6 o'clock in the morning, and our radio was on loud,
playing classical
music. And we hadn't turned it on in, I think, 2 days.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of. You scratch your head and go, well, did I do that? So just little things like that.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to where you go,
Yeah, there's
right.
a man's walking up and down with his head in his hand or anything like that.
Yeah.
So.
There's very good and positive energy.
That's
really
that's what's
that's
really
the key
important.
right
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
I love the house, I love the property, I love the view, I love the stories. Phil, this is amazing.
This is This is Little Falls, a castle. It's a hidden castle. This place is so many rooms, and so, like, every view from this place is just amazing. And the detail that went into building it, and not to mention the legends. There are some rumors floating out there about Burrell looking. Nope, that's nothing like it. We got little girls wandering the halls. We got these friendly spirits in there, women talking, these old ladies and stuff like this. And it's one of those things, it just keeps going. This place is amazing.
And it's an active B&B, so a Haunts and Legends recommendation to check it out for yourself. And if you enjoy this episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
And hit the comments below to let us know where else we should go.
Click subscribe and watch the rest of the series. This is the Haunts and Legends of New York.